a surprising turn of events, all of WWE's major singles championships are now held by former All Elite Wrestling talent. Cody Rhodes is the reigning WWE Champion, and at the recent Saturday night's main event special, CM Punk and Jade Cargill captured the remaining titles. Many fans are wondering, is this just happenstance, or is WWE sending a message? Let's break down the current title holders. Cody Rhodes is a prime example of an AEW pioneer who transitioned to be a WWE megastar. Cody was instrumental in launching AEW back in 2019, yet he shocked the wrestling world by returning to WWE at WrestleMania 38 in 2022. His comeback was an emotional moment. The prodigal son of WWE, the son of the American Dream, returned home, where he started his wrestling career. Over the next 2 years, Cody became the face of WWE, carrying the banners as a top babyface. His journey culminated at WrestleMania 40 when he finally finished the story by defeating Roman Reigns for the WWE Championship in one of the best WrestleMania endings of all time. This was a huge deal. Reigns had the title for an astonishing 1,316 days, and Cody dethroned him in an epic Bloodline Rules match. Since capturing the undisputed WWE Championship, Cody has proudly represented WWE as its champion. His success demonstrates WWE's willingness to take someone who helped build a rival promotion, place them at the very top. Cody's transition has been nearly seamless. He went from an AEW executive vice president to WWE's flagship franchise player. The company has leaned into his legacy, fan support has grown with it, positioning him as a conquering hero. It's safe to say that Cody's run has been a massive statement in and of itself. After all, who better to carry WWE's most prestigious title than a former AEW figurehead who came back to prove himself on wrestling's biggest stage? Then there's CM Punk, another ex-AEW star who's now thriving in WWE. Punk's time in AEW from 2021 to 2023 was successful on-screen, but off-screen, a very different story, with backstage controversies from heated rivalries and notorious media scrum rants to an actual locker room fight with executives of the company. His AEW stint was filled with a lot of drama and suspensions and some unfortunate injuries, ultimately leading to him being fired by AEW in 2023 after a backstage incident. Many wondered if we'd ever see Punk in a major promotion like WWE again, who he already had some well-publicized bad blood with dating back to 2014. But here we are in late 2025, and CM Punk is back in WWE, and he's wearing gold around his waist. What's notable is how WWE has presented Punk since his return. He's been booked as a seasoned veteran, a respected big-name player without the backstage chaos that maybe plagued his AEW run. WWE has essentially given Punk a clean slate and has positioned him as a top star who can still deliver. On Raw, following Saturday night's main event, Punk showed up triumphantly with the belt to cement that he's the new World Heavyweight Champion, and it's WWE saying we know how to handle a star like CM Punk the right way. One of the most buzzworthy acquisitions from AEW to WWE has been Jade Cargill. WWE wasted little time in strapping the rocket to her. In AEW, Jade was a dominant force. She debuted in pro wrestling in 2020 with AEW and went on an undefeated streak of 60-0, becoming the first TBS champion and holding the title for 508 days. AEW eventually saw the streak snapped, and Jade took a hiatus. WWE signed her up in late 2023 amid much fanfare, touting her crossover appeal and athletic background. Ever since Jade arrived in WWE, they have presented her as a big deal. And she didn't win every match, but her booking was strong and steady, clearly positioning her as a future champion. For WWE, putting the Women's Championship on Jade is a clear sign of confidence in her unrelenting star power. She has a crossover appeal and came in with significant hype. WWE has leaned into that, and they even had her win the Queen of the Ring tournament and the tag titles before this title. By the end of Saturday night's main event, Jade stood tall as the women's champion, a former AEW homegrown star now ruling WWE's women's division. The message? WWE can take AEW's undefeated phenom and make them, maybe, into an even bigger star. Moving over to WWE's developmental brand, the Stars of Tomorrow, on NXT, we find Ricky Starks, now known in NXT as Ricky Saints, carrying the torch. In AEW, Ricky Starks was seen as one of the most promising young talents. He had charisma, mic skills, and held the FTW Championship after leaving Tony Khan's company WWE in 2025 after being basically benched for a long time for reasons still not clearly known. Ricky made the jump to WWE and was placed in NXT. There he adapted quickly to WWE's system and thrived. He won the NXT North American Championship early on. Before the end of 2025, he reached the top by defeating Oba Femi to become the NXT Champion. Ricky has effectively become the new face of NXT. As NXT Champion, he's showcasing the full extent of his talent with the spotlight squarely on him. WWE often uses NXT to repackage or refine incoming talent, and in Ricky's case, it looks like the perfect fit. His natural charisma, his absolute persona have won over NXT's hardcore fanbase. By giving the former AEW up-and-comer the ball and letting him run with it, WWE is signaling that they see Ricky as a potential player at the top of their cards, realizing some things that maybe AEW wasn't going to realize. He's gone from being one of the many AEW roster guys who's there, but you haven't seen him really clip over, to now becoming, a top player for them. Even former AEW stars like All Ego Ethan Page and Blake Monroe are having success in NXT. Page is the North American champion, and then you have, Blake Monroe, formerly known as Mariah May. She's now the women's North American champion. All Ego may have never won gold in AEW during his time there, but Blake Monroe, then known as Mariah May, was a big star for AEW and was the AEW Women's World Champion before she left for WWE. Unfortunately, it's not all success for everyone that leaves AEW for WWE. Several former AEW stars who have jumped over, like the Lucha Brothers, they were tag team sensations in AEW, but now are still trying to find their space. Penta may have one of the most exciting entrances and certainly is over, but is he going to be able to sustain that momentum if he keeps losing big-time matches? In fact, at Saturday night's main event, Penta and Rusev were thrown in a triple threat match with the Intercontinental Champion Dirty Dom Mysterio, and it was Dirty Dominic who was able to sleaze his way out and use a ring bell hammer to somehow win the match. Despite their talent, Penta and his brother Rey Fenix haven't been positioned as serious title contenders on the main roster, but they're still providing flashy matches. Aleister Black had a cult following in WWE originally, and then he became a top dark character in AEW's House of Black. Rumors came true when he returned to WWE in 2025. He did get a cool re-debut on SmackDown, even starting a feud with Damian Priest that culminated in a big last man standing match win. But after that, Aleister Black hasn't been really catapulted into the main event scene. He's respected for his striking ability and presentation, he certainly stands out, yet he's currently not holding any titles or headlining any shows. In other words, he's been utilized, but with a ceiling on top of him. The disparity in how ex-AEW stars are treated within WWE has many observers wondering what is WWE's real strategy. On one hand, you have guys like Cody, Punk, Jade, Ricky Saints thriving as champions. On the other hand, you have talents like Penta, Phoenix, Rusev, Black, Andrade, who've been used sparingly or, in Andrade's case, released. It could simply be the case of WWE picking who they see getting top caliber positions and are viewed as key role players because they've hit the roles they've been given. It might be circumstantial, simply a competitive roster where everyone's fighting for their TV time, and some wrestlers may not fit in with the creative vision that is in place. Regardless of the optics that are interesting for us to look at, WWE clearly doesn't automatically push every former AEW star to the moon. They're selective.